This is a bad exotic, but when you pair it with this exotic, you can melt anything in the game with ease. And there are a ton of other combos like constant jolt effects, infinite ammo weapons, and massive explosions. These are some of the most amazing combos in Destiny 2, and let's start with World Line 0. This exotic sword allows you to do a teleporting spin attack while you're sprinting. This has never really been good until recently, where it got a huge buff. World Line now deals 8% more damage per attack, and you can now use its heavy attack twice back to back. This means, in a way, it deals over double damage compared to what it used to before. This makes it amazing for very high burst damage against tougher enemies like champions. And if that's not enough damage, just throw in some surge mods and you'll nuke everything. Now, the problem with this exotic is that you have to get really close to use it, and in higher level content, that has consequences. But there is another exotic that makes it easy to get in, deal your damage, then get out safely. Stronghold. These exotic gauntlets make it so blocking with a sword does not consume sword energy. You also take reduced damage while blocking, and blocking gives you a buff called Perfect Guard. This will stack up to 100 times, and attacking with your sword will consume all the stacks. Doing so will give you restoration times 2 for a varying amount of time, with the minimum stacks giving you 4 seconds of restoration, maximum stacks giving you 16 seconds, and max stacks with Ember of Solace giving you a whole 24 seconds of restoration. Just a reminder, restoration will constantly heal you even if you're taking damage, which means you can block damage for a couple seconds, teleport straight forward with your sword, kill everything around you, then get out safely thanks to the restoration given by Stronghold. This combo is extremely powerful against champions and yellow bars in just about every activity, except for Grandmaster Nightfalls, because you're probably just going to die immediately. We all love Chain Lightning, and this next combo has a lot of it. First off, we're using Crown of Tempests. This will make all your abilities recharge faster after getting arc ability kills, as well as jolt kills. It also extends your super duration up to 30 seconds, which is kinda OP. So you're going to want a lot of jolt effects to constantly keep up this buff and be able to spam abilities. There are so many ways to get jolt, but the best exotic for this is actually Delicate Tomb. This is an arc fusion rifle that fires in a horizontal spread when hip firing, which makes it good for hitting multiple targets at once. It can also create ionic traces after kills, and picking up ionic traces will make its next shot apply jolt. This means Delicate Tomb can easily activate Crown of Tempest with every shot. It's almost like these exotics are made for each other. Also, if you have the catalyst for Delicate Tomb, picking up an ionic trace will reload it. So as long as you get kills, you never have to reload. Never. You can further improve the combo by using Electrostatic Mind to create more ionic traces for Delicate Tomb, Spark of Discharge and Spark of Ions for even more ionic traces, and Spark of Shock since you're going to have extremely fast abilities. This combo is shockingly good, and I wish I found it sooner. It's amazing for ad clear, gives you super fast abilities, and makes Storm Trance last forever. There's so much to love. I found a weird trick that allows you to deal 10 times damage with Ace of Spades. But first, this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. HelloFresh offers a variety of great food that's cheaper and healthier than takeout. You can order a box online, then in less than a week, they'll deliver everything you need to make your food. Their ingredients are always fresh and pre-portioned to help you cut down on food waste, which is good for your wallet and good for the planet. HelloFresh offers a variety of meal options with over 40 recipes and over 100 seasonal and convenience items to choose from every week. There's always something for everyone. And HelloFresh is easy to make no matter your cooking experience, with their easy to follow recipes that walk you through every step of the process. Even I'm able to make these amazing meals, and all I do is play video games for a living. If you want to try HelloFresh for yourself, use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use code POGMARSHIX AUG50 for 50% off plus free shipping. Just click the link in the description or scan this QR code on your phone. Try it right now with this huge discount, then if you decide you like it, just continue the subscription. But I already know you'll love it. Thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. First off, Ace of Spades has a perk called Memento Mori. Reloading after kills gives you 6 powerful shots. These shots deal about 50% more damage, and they don't go away until you use them, so it's basically a better version of Kill Clip. We're going to pair this exotic with Lucky Pants. Pulling out your hand cannon gives you a buff called Illegally Modded Holster. While this is active, your hand cannon shots deal more damage. Each shot increases the damage buff by 60%, and it stacks up to 10 times, meaning you can get up to 7 times damage with just this exotic and any kinetic hand cannon. Now, you may have noticed that Ace of Spades loses its buff when you stow it. So how do we stack the two buffs? Well, the trick I found fixes that problem. All you need to do is pull out your ghost and put it away. This will activate Lucky Pants without removing the Memento Mori buff from Ace of Spades. This makes Ace of Spades deal a lot of damage, and I have numbers to back it up. But while we're here, we might as well make it deal even more damage. So go ahead and throw on 3 kinetic surge mods for a 22% damage buff while you have armor charges, and either a solar subclass so you can have easy access to radiance, or a void subclass so you can have tether. Tether will result in higher damage, but radiance is much more common, so it's up to you. Or if you have someone else who can apply a buff like tether, you can take advantage of both. With all of these damage buffs, you can get up to 3 times damage without Lucky Pants. Then the buffs multiply with Lucky Pants to get a bunch of numbers. I spent way too much time on this, but here are all the damage multipliers. Since Memento Mori only lasts for the first 6 shots, it'll only stack up to 5 times. Then the damage will go down slightly and then steadily go back up after that, capping out at 14 times more damage. Long story short, this combo can deal a lot of damage, and even though it doesn't get both full buffs, it can keep a consistently high amount of damage per shot. With just armor charges, radiance, and a couple stacks of Lucky Pants, you can easily deal around 5 to 7 times damage basically all the time. And you can get that even higher if you really try. In my last video, I threw Tommy's matchbook in the trash, where it deserves to be. But there's actually one exotic that makes Tommy's usable. First off, Tommy's matchbook is a solar auto rifle that will catch you on fire as you shoot it. While you're on fire, this deals more damage and applies Scorch to whatever it hits. This is alright, but usually not worth the self-arson. However, there's an exotic that wants you to be at low health and works great with Tommy's matchbook. Lorelei Splendor. When you take enough damage, this will consume your class ability and automatically spawn a sunspot at your feet. This will heal you with restoration, which means you're much harder to kill, and you can out-heal most of the damage from Tommy's. So now this bad exotic is actually decent. It's also worth mentioning that defeating scorched targets create sunspots. Since Tommy's deals scorch damage, you can create even more sunspots with it, which means you have an easier time staying alive. But if that ugly piece of trash isn't enough for you, you can actually use a different exotic. One with literally infinite ammo. Touch of Malice. This is an exotic scout rifle that will never run out of ammo. On the final shot of the magazine, instead of consuming ammo, it will consume your health. These shots will deal increased damage, and if you get enough precision hits, you get to do this cool Taken thing. And just like before, once you use this weapon enough, you'll take enough damage to activate Lorelei's and create a sunspot. With the sunspot, you can continue to shoot for longer before you die, or if you don't want to die for some reason, just stop shooting for 1 second to heal, then keep firing. This makes it so you can run Touch of Malice in its infinite ammo buffed state without much worry, since you have an automatic panic switch if things go wrong. Definitely worth a try. There's an exotic that makes all trace rifles S tier, so let's use that with one of the best trace rifles in the game, Cenotaph Mask. This will reload your trace rifles over time, even as you're shooting them. Plus, it also marks bosses you hit with trace rifles, and once that marked target is killed by another player, it'll drop guaranteed heavy ammo for them, and guaranteed special ammo for you. This makes it an amazing support option for just about any activity. Now, this works with any trace rifle, and I've shown how strong this is with Divinity in the past, but there's another exotic that this helps a lot. Aggro's Scepter. This is a stasis trace rifle, and getting kills with it will create a stasis burst that slows everything around it. It also has a catalyst that gives it an alternate firing mode. So you'll need a full super to enter this mode, and then once you're in it, your super energy will slowly drain. But it's worth the trade-off, because this thing will overfill its magazine to 194 rounds that deal more damage and slow and freeze whatever it hits. Normally, if you reload during this time, the buff will end. But thanks to Cenotaph, you're able to take full advantage of the buff. So by default, it can shoot 194 shots, but with Cenotaph, you can shoot a total of 251 shots, meaning you get an extra 57 rounds with the buff just because you're wearing this helmet. And thanks to its other perk, that can become more if you get kills. Also, keep in mind, if you're using this against bosses, you'll still be able to generate ammo for yourself and your team, so ammo will never be a problem. Then you just need to throw on a stasis subclass with Ice Flare bolts, and this combo will be OP. Up next is a way to buff your glaives multiple times. The first exotic is Vexcalibur. This will give you an overshield by blocking damage. Then when you have an overshield, this will deal more melee damage, and kills will extend the duration of the overshield. This is a solid glaive, but it gets even better when you have Triton's Vice. This does multiple things for glaives, but the main thing we're focusing on is increased melee damage when surrounded. You're using a glaive, so you're gonna have this buff most of the time. And this does stack with the Vexcalibur Overshield buff to do some crazy melee damage. I don't believe any other buffs work with a melee attack, but you can throw in some void debuffs to make the enemy take more damage. So now you have 3 things making your glaives deal more damage. It's a simple combo, but one that finally makes glaives worth using. This next combo started off as a meme, but it's actually pretty good. Final warning, this strand sidearm will mark targets as you hold down the trigger, then when you release it, it will send out tracking bullets. This is decent, but we can make it even better. Go ahead and throw on Lion Rampant. This will allow you to hip fire your shots while in midair. With this, you're able to jump up, shoot your tracking projectiles toward everything you see, then fall down to reload and do it again. This is definitely not meant for hard content, but a very fun build that only requires 1 brain cell, and I love it. Up next is a way to create a ton of explosions and use those explosions to give us ability energy. Graviton Lance. This exotic will create a chaining explosion after every kill, and this chain effect is really strong. Strong enough to clear entire rooms of enemies with only 1 or 2 shots. It's crazy. Now, we're gonna pair this with Nezarec Sin. Since all the explosions are void, they'll activate Nezarec, giving us constant uptime on Abyssal Extractors. In other words, faster abilities all the time. It's not as fast as the Crown of Tempest combo, but this requires 0 setup. Just wear the helmet and shoot things with Graviton. And you don't even need to be on a void subclass. Nezarec works with all subclasses, so you can spam any abilities you want. And it's a lot of fun with Mindspun Invocation, allowing every explosion to also suspend enemies. Complete overkill, but definitely worth it. Graviton has many great combos though, like with Gerfalcon's Hauberk. This exotic makes it so you get volatile rounds each time you emerge from invisibility. Pair this with Stylish Executioner and you have an infinite loop of turning invisible to get volatile rounds, then getting volatile kills to turn you invisible. Now you just need a good void weapon. And would you look at that, Graviton Lance is void. Not only does this give Graviton anti-barrier rounds, but it also creates even more explosions. Now you may be thinking, Graviton doesn't need more explosions. And you would be wrong, you should always have more explosions. There's a way to shoot all of your heavy ammo without needing to reload. You'll first need Sealed Ahamkara Grasp. Dealing melee damage will reload your equipped weapon. Now, if you wear this on a Stasis Hunter where you have 2 melee charges, you can do some really fun stuff, like shooting 6 Gallahorn rockets, or 9 rockets with Truth, or dumping all your ammo for 4th Horseman. The point is, you get to skip 2 reloads. So weapons that deal a lot of burst damage are great to pair with this. But if I was to pick the best weapon for this combo, I would go with one of those bait and swish rockets from Ghost of the Deep, and get 3 rockets from Envious Assassin, 1 rocket from the Origin trait, 2 rockets from this combo, and 1 last rocket from Gambler's Dodge. What is that, like 7 rockets without reloading? And it has bait and switch? That's just dumb. Have you ever used Second Chance? Well, neither have I, but apparently it got buffed, and now it's really good. So this exotic will give you a second shield throw, and your shield throws will weaken enemies by 15%, and they have anti-barrier. This is a massive buff to the shield throw melee, especially the weaken part, since you can throw this at a boss and deal more damage with your heavy weapons. So this is now amazing everywhere in the game, whether you're killing adds, fighting a boss with a lot of health, or popping a champion shield. By the way, when you stun a champion with this, it fully refunds your melee, meaning you can turn around and use this again on the same champion. Now, the other exotic we're using is Monte Carlo. Dealing damage with this will generate melee energy, and kills have a chance to instantly recharge your melee. Having this will make it so you always have your melee ready for whatever you encounter. Also, Bungie hinted at Monte Carlo potentially getting a catalyst soon, so this combo will only get better. This next combo allows you to get all 3 champion mods on 1 weapon. So the weapon we need actually isn't an exotic, but if it was, I would still use it. Riptide, or really any fusion rifle with choke clip. Choke clip makes all your shots slow enemies with the first shot, then a second shot will completely freeze them. Since slow effects will stun overload champions, and shatter effects stun unstoppable champions, this can already deal with 2 of the 3 champion types. But how do we get the third? That's where Rain of Fire comes in. This exotic will make you radiant after fusion rifle kills. Being radiant gives all your weapons a damage buff, as well as anti-barrier, and that includes Riptide, meaning Riptide or any other chill clip fusion can deal with all 3 champion types relatively easily, and on any subclass. This frees up the space to use whatever other weapons you want to run, and you can leave all the champions up to your fusion. The next combo allows you to deal a crazy amount of damage with Acreus, but you'll have to check out this video to see how. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Marshix, and I'll see you next time.